Hello, and welcome to Access. So, was there a gap between the title sequence and me? I was getting my phone. There was a gap. There needed to be, and I suspect it had been lined up perfectly so that it could segue from the introduction into me. But I've just been here chatting, shooting the shit, saving the world, and then I realised I hadn't got my phone, which I need to have on me, not because I've got better things to be doing and people who are more important than you guys, because I know it's very having a chat with people, they're going, yes, but actually this is more interesting. And then you look over your shoulder and it's Ralph Little's Twitter feed, and you go, oh, come on. No offense to Ralph Little. He was just a name I plugged out of nowhere. I'll tell you why Ralph Little. I actually rather like Ralph Little, but when I was feeling a bit pessimistic one day, and it was when I just had my show commissioned for Radio 4 Extra, but nobody, it was Radio 7 then, which at the time was the highest number of BBC channels, lowest viewers, biggest number. You've got to take what you're given. And and it was my show Moss Ate My Doctor Who Scarf, which was a sort of autobiography. And I was so low on my prospects then that I did for a moment think, who are they going to ask? Who are they going to get to play me? Because I didn't think that the BBC would possibly let me play myself. And I thought, but probably be Ralph Little, which would he'd have been much more affable and sexy, probably. Although Goodman Hill plays all the parts I covered. But anyway, hello. So are we on? Yes, I am. This is the show. I know it doesn't look down. I have to look this way. I'm currently looking straight at Bethany Black's nostrils because that's what I can see. I don't know what you can see. You can see me, but to me, dear audience, you are the nostrils of Bethany Black.
Hooray!
Doesn't know what to do with her face. So, well, look, welcome everybody. Welcome to Excess Malarkey. It's Tuesday night. If you've not been to the club before, it's normally in a building, and there's beer and an atmosphere and conviviality. And if you so desire, you can touch the acts and take one or two of them home. But in this lockdown, where we live in a country where it is currently illegal to have sex with somebody who doesn't live with you, that's the law. I wish I'd had that as an excuse when I was a student, because I got, well, I'm afraid I'm just obeying the law rather than the flawed system. Democratic coupling that we have in this country. Anyway, so what am I talking about? I don't know. I started the sentence a long time ago and ended up somewhere else. But that's part of the joy of life. If they'd edited that, they would have taken out of its soul and its irrelevance. But this is why you come to live shows. If you've not been to Excess Malarkey before, yes, we're a live comedy club, which we can't do at the moment. We can't actually put on a show in a building. So we're maintaining the live thing by forcing various fine acts from the UK comedy circuit and beyond to, the comedy circuit beyond. It's not just we get people from the UK comedy circuit and then a welder from Mongolia. Do you know what I mean? So they're still comedians if they're from abroad. To do something, anything, whatever they want, so long as there's a comedic intent from their living room / bedroom / maisonette / loft / parents' barn in Durham, wherever they would like to be performing from. As this is an essential journey. It's for the humour of the nation, so the comics will do their bit, and then we'll sort of go immediately over to BBC Three for the behind-the-scenes chat, where we will talk to the comedians about what they've just done and about their influences, and hopefully information and off-the-cuff bonhomie will ensue. I'm Toby, by the way. Hello. I'm the compere of Excess Malarkey, for the simple fact that I was here first and nobody's been allowed to get rid of me. And we're delighted to that we're still able to do this. And you are allowed to heckle me or by the chat, which is a thing we have here in Manchester, which is, as you know, you Twitchers, and I know you're twitching as you're looking at me. What you can do with your avatars and your handles, you can, and I'm sure you've got an emoji or two about your person because you're those kind of people. You can throw us questions because we've made a decision. We're not talking about the news. Not that we're not conversant in it or aware of its import, but more important people than us are talking about it, and we're just doing the old excess malarkey thing tonight. So, but we will be pointing out places where you can donate money to apposite causes. And we will also be putting up a link where you can donate to the comedians performing this evening if you so desire. But we know that money is tight and only goes a certain distance, and we're going to be encouraging you to throw it in different directions tonight if you so desire. Anyway, so that's all we're doing in that regard, because hopefully we're being a tonic and an alternative to the shitstorm that's happening everywhere else. So other than wishing everybody very well, and I think you know where we stand on all things, because you know. So let's crack on. So yes, so you need to send me any heckles or questions, or please give me something, because I normally come up and talk about what's going on in the news. So I'm absolutely fucked this evening. Although I did. Now here's a thing, and it's sort of apposite because of my introduction for our first act. So I might work it in seamlessly into my intro of the opening act. But before we do that, therefore, I have to split the audience into teams. If you've never been to Excess Malarkey before, what we do in the live show is that we split the room into left and right, and sometimes right and left, and we give each side a name. And the name is decided by a gentleman who always places himself in the middle at the front, and thank goodness he does, because his laugh is always a tonic. It is always the sucker on which the acts feed and spread their pollen onto all you other vegetables. And he's called Jonathan. And he's called Jonathan, and he has sent. I've had a message from him via a thing we have here in Manchester called the internet, and he has sent me via a thing in Manchester we have called Joe Hollingsworth. He has sent me tonight's team. He says, "Hi, XS. I don't have Cylons or beetroot, and my Cyberman and substitute vegetable haven't arrived yet. So this week the teams are Ninja versus Pumpkins." So
which everyone can see on the screen right now.
And we have an actual avatar representation, a Lego avatar of each of those teams. So take a look at which one you like, because you could be on the right or left. Positioning is of no matter on these live internet shows. So you can be a ninja or a pumpkin. Why has the ninja got a broom? Oh no, he's not. He's got some sort of sword. I think that's overkill if you're a ninja. I think if you're good at the other ninjas shit, you don't need to be packing no sword. That's showing off. That's like saying I'm a gymnast, but I got stilts. And the pumpkin's looking good. Although he's got a pumpkin for a head, and he's got a pumpkin trick or treat bag, which is like carrying your own head around in order to get candy, which I think is slightly grim. But anyway, each to their own. I'm happy to support both the ninja and pumpkin representatives this evening. So decide which you are in order to give us your virtual claps, because we feed off your vocal manual and keyboard affirmation. So you can type clap if you like, or woo, or hooray, or anything, whatever your noises are. No boos. We don't like the boos. So first up, please, can we have the ninjas on a count of 3? 1, 2, 3, ninjas! And ninjas, or is it just, yeah, it's got to be ninjas. And pumpkins on a count of 3. Pumpkins, 1, 2, 3, pumpkins! Yay! Put their own heads down in order to do that. And now ninjas and pumpkins are going to entwine together in a vegetable / silent assassin combo to welcome our first act now. Our first act. I've actually opened this act, and I think it was about 260 miles away. So it was definitely a worthwhile journey. And he's worked at the New Stuff Night at the Comedy Store a lot, and he's also, of course, done Excess Malarkey. But he's done a few other things as well, like been on the BBC radio and just won a little old thing called Britain's Got Talent. He needs no introduction, but if I didn't give him one, it would not make the show flow particularly well and could seem in some quarters quite rude. So please welcome to Excess Malarkey's corner of cyberspace. It's the one and only Lost Voice Guy. Yay!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I guess I better start by introducing myself. Believe it or not, my name isn't really Lost Voice Guy. My parents would never mean enough to do something like that. What they told me to say whenever the nice lady from social services visited. Popped in a room upstairs to hide me from everyone else. The local people were a bit afraid of me. They only let me out on special occasions. Anyway, my real name is Lee, and it's nice to meet you all. I got the nickname Lost Voice Guy while I was at school. It was a very cruel thing to call me, I know. It really knocked my confidence, and I hardly ever went out in the playground because of it. But the teachers insisted on calling me it. If only they could see me now. Of course, they can't. Because I went to school a long time ago, and they are all dead. To be the token disabled comedian. And I am here to tick some boxes and make you all feel awkward. I'm looking forward to it. Just so you are aware, I'll be doing none of the shit that other more talented disabled people do in the Paralympics and things. Sorry for making you like this, but I'm not one of those superhuman disabled people. On the contrary, I'm one of these regular disabled people without any amazing abilities. Let's face it, I don't earn the title of being super just because I get to park closer to Tesco. The only impressive ability I do have is the fact that I'm the best passenger in the quiet coach on the train. I am afraid that I'm not here to inspire you. I'm here for the cold hard cash. Don't be mistaken. I am inspired by disabled people all the time. But not just because they're disabled. They inspire me because they've taught me that I can use a trouser hanger to hold open my book. They inspire me because they use hair straighteners to pick up stuff off the floor. And they inspire me by the way they take advantage of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. The fact of the matter is that I'm sick of being called an inspiration. And it would seem that these inspirational quotes are everywhere these days, which just makes it worse. I can guarantee that at least a couple of your friends have them plastered all over their walls at home. They probably say shit such as, fill a house with love and it becomes a home. Or maybe we create our tomorrow by what we dream today. And I can guarantee that you think these people are a twat. The ones that really get to me are the stuff that gets shared on Facebook. Quotes like, the only disability in life is a bad attitude. Fuck off. For a start, being nice to the stairs in my flat hasn't turned them into a ramp yet. Positive thinking is going to help the blind man when he walks into a bookshop. And if it really is the case that the only disability is a bad attitude, then why the hell isn't Katie Hopkins paralyzed from the neck down? As you know, those quotes are just a load of self-righteous shit. I don't think I've ever felt much of an inspiration to anyone. In fact, The only time I have ever felt valued as part of society is once every few years when you all watch inspiration porn for a month. Or to give it its proper name, the Paralympics. As you can probably tell, I'm not really good at any sports, so I'm an idiot in the Paralympics. I can hardly walk, never mind run. I'm also a lazy bastard. Laziness was a sport. I'd come in fourth, so I wouldn't have to walk up to the podium. I can't do anything remotely athletic is when I used to go horse riding when I was little. Even then, I was given a horse with only one eye. As if they thought that I wasn't disabled enough already, so they thought they'd make it worse by giving me a blind horse. I couldn't tell it where to go, and it couldn't see where it was going. All we needed was a deaf guy to be leading us around, and we'd have won disability bingo. I am quite impressed at the number of sports that have been adapted for disabled people, though. It's nice that they are so inclusive these days. I reckon we should go further and adapt versions of classic board games as well. You could play a very special edition of Guess Who, where all the characters had disabilities. No one would ever win, because everyone would be too afraid to describe their character. Version of Monopoly, where every space is just free parking. And, of course, there could be a disabled version of Buckaroo, where the donkey only has one fucking eye. People have often asked me why I want to put myself in a position where everyone can stare and laugh at me. The truth is that it happens to me every day anyway. At least this way there's a scheduled time and place for it. I'd like to think I'm providing a public service, which is more than the government is doing at the moment. Of course, I do it because I want to be famous too. I think everyone does really. I started off in a disabled steps tribute band. We were called Ramps. That was a bit of an uphill struggle. I used to often think about going on the X Factor just to see the look on their faces when they realize I can't actually sing, or dance, or talk. I don't wonder about this anymore. The X Factor auditions came to the area recently, so obviously I went along to see what would happen. I thought I could be in with a chance, because Gareth Gates became successful despite it. Choosing which song to sing to the judges was hard. Shout by Lulu was an obvious candidate, as was Just Speak by No Doubt. In the end, I went for I Believe I Can Fly. I never even expected to reach the judges. Surely someone would question how the fuck I was going to sing. I did feel a little bit bad for wasting their time. Not much, though. I'm a bastard. I could see straight away that they were very confused when I walked in. The look on their faces as I began to sing was priceless, especially as I started to sway along to the words as well. Unsurprisingly, they rejected me without even raising a smile. In fact, they still didn't smile as I walked out and asked them if it was because my voice had sounded too flat. Sometimes I think I say it best when I say nothing at all. I feel like to set a few things straight before I have to leave you. I am not related to Stephen Hawking in any way. However, I do hate the way people take the piss out of the way he speaks. I can really sympathize with him. And last but not least, I need to point out this. I hate that we have so many politically correct words to describe disabled people now. When I went to school, I honestly went to a school with spastics in its name. They certainly knew how to make us feel good about ourselves. Now it's all special needs, special schools, Special Olympics. I don't know what the fuck is so special about me. That is why it always alarms me when I hear about special forces going to war. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been the Lost Voice Guy. If you find my voice, please contact me as soon as possible on my social media. I hope you had fun laughing at a disabled man.
Woo! Voice Guy, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to do a bit of an interview. I've got a couple of questions for Lee about all things in his comedy world, which has changed a little bit since he first did Excess Malarkey, because he's gone on to be hugely famous and tour and rightfully successful. So I guess it's a big dilemma, isn't it? What made you decide to do Britain's Got Talent?
It was my agent who suggested doing it, and I didn't like the idea at all at first. I just didn't see it as a route I wanted to go down. Comedians used to think that Britain's Got Talent were 3 dirty words that should never be spoken, and looked down their noses at it. And I was one of them. This was all down entertainment for the masses, and we were all too cool for that. I was very wary of getting known as the bloke off Britain's Got Talent. And yes, I'm now fully aware that I'll always be that bloke who won Britain's Got Talent. Another thing that bothered me was that I'd have to tone down my jokes if I was going to tell them on television before the watershed in front of millions of families eating their tea. My sense of humour is really dug at times, and I fucking love swearing. That's the sort of person I am. But when you've been doing comedy for as long as I have, you begin to realise that the opportunities for real television exposure are few and far between. And Britain's Got Talent gets millions of viewers every week. So, to me, it began to make sense from that point of view.
Yeah, well, I mean, do you know what? It's interesting because for a circuit that's supposed to be sort of egalitarian and supportive, there can be a lot of snobbery. And I mean, before you did it, my feeling was, I think if you're a comedian who can go on Britain's Got Talent and do well, do it. There's a reason I wouldn't go on Britain's Got Talent, and it's because I'd be shit and I'd be voted off immediately. Because I'm not that. I don't have the skill set, I think, to be either pithy or I don't have the skill set to prosper in that environment, and that's not because I'm better than it. It's because I'm not good enough to do what they require. And I think sometimes comics, because they're not cut out for a particular thing, then want to look down on it to make themselves feel better about themselves. I'm quite comfortable to say I'd be a bit shit at that, but I'd be pretty good at that. And I think the other thing with you is, because you were already a comic, because you've got good pedigree and we'd all seen you and liked you, I think everyone went, oh, absolutely fantastic. It's good to see a really good comic doing well. Whereas if you'd just been, it's terrible snobbery, isn't it? If you'd just been some builder who was just naturally funny, we'd have fucking hated you. We'd have gone, he's never done a gig before and he's on the what a cunt. But because you were a pro, you were one of us. You're all right. You get a pass. So I couldn't be more delighted to see you and Deliso. Deliso did very well on it, and I've worked with Robert as well, and it's great to see comics from our circuit who I think probably thought they couldn't do it. Suddenly, actually, go. Mike Newell was on it recently, and Steve Royal actually go, and Janice Connolly. So loads of really good working comics have gone right. Well, I've got to do it a certain way in order to work for that particular audience. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to make as many people as we can laugh. So I say more power to your elbow. The other question I've got, because I said Ross said, think of some questions to ask. So I sent her about 13 and she read, no, 2. So the other question was, what does the entertainment world need to do? And I'm sorry to pull out the disabled thing, but I have to, and this is what I wanted to discuss with you, but I'll talk about it afterwards because I think it's interesting. What does the entertainment world need to do better with regards to disability?
I would like to see more disabled comedians booked by comedy clubs, appearing at festivals and being shown on television. Basically, more disabled people being portrayed in a positive light. I'm sick of being part of a group in society who are mostly demonized in the media. The general public need to see that we're not all just scroungers and benefits cheats. They need to see that disabled people can contribute an awful lot to society, and they need to see that we have a sense of humour just like anyone else. Programs like The Last Leg on Channel 4 have paved the way, but there's still a lot that could be done. Only when we see disabled people on our stages and on our screens as much as anyone else with attitudes really change. And only then will disabled people feel fully a part of society. Of course, success breeds success as well. It would be nice for every disabled child to realize they have the opportunity to do whatever they like when they grow up. But they'll only believe this if they see other people in a similar situation achieving their goals. The comedy scene as a whole can play a big part in this. There are some amazing disabled comedians working on the circuit. And comedy is the perfect way to tackle difficult subjects in a way that can make people both laugh and think at the same time.
Bravo, absolutely. And on that note, I think it's worthwhile. You've been very kind to do stuff. My partner, Shirley Houston, who is an actress, has, if you are watching, if you've been brought to this show by Lee's presence on it, and if you are a disabled person, or a young disabled person with aspirations to performance and things like that, there are things out there. There's the charity Triple C and DANC, the Disabled Artists Networking Community, which is DANC. If you Google those, there are resources there where aspiring performers and creatives with a disability can be hooked up with other professionals and be given tips on how to break through. Because as Lee says, with exposure comes acceptability, I guess, and hopefully in 20 years' time, this conversation that we're having, which I know will have been preserved by historians because of the kind of movers and shakers we are, will seem alien, because it won't seem odd that there are people on television with the right percentage of people. The arts are actually the most underrepresented of most workplaces for disabled people, and we think we're the sort of big liberal outlet, but in terms of percentages of disabled people in the population and representation, the arts are among the worst, which is bonkers and counterintuitive, but absolutely true. So, Lee, continue the good work. Thank you so much for performing for us tonight.
My pleasure.
It's always good to see you, mate, and continue being absolutely brilliant. You're a brilliant comic, full stop. It's always nice to see you, and stay safe and social distance, and we'll see you when we open the doors again. Take care, mate. Lost Voice guy, everybody. What a treat. Yeah, it's a crazy thing that the arts are amongst the worst represented. I feel like a bit of a fraud though, because I have to say, until I started seeing somebody with the disability, I probably patted myself on the back and went, "Oh, I'm very aware of disability, and I think you'll find I'm a fellow traveller. Uh, but I don't need the wheels." And I knew nothing, and I may have paid lip service to such things, but I knew nothing. And it's only when I think you spend a lot of time with somebody and sort of by proxy experience what they do and see how they are seen by other people that you become aware of the issues. But the other side of that, and it's a terrible thing, because I'm a very sort of liberal, Guardian reading, hummus munching, virtue signaler, I do worry sometimes that my disabled girlfriend is a bit like Uncle Albert's when I fought in the war. And I do worry that I throw it into conversation to make myself seem marvellous. You go, "So, Toby, would you like an orange?" "Oh, yes, I'd very much like an orange." "Did I mention my girlfriend uses a wheelchair?" Do you know what I mean? It's a terrible. "Oh, does she? You must be terribly nice." "I know. I seem like such a beast, but actually I've obviously got a soft centre." And it's so I do worry because it is obviously it's a subject that is rife with comic potential because of the stupid things that people do in their attitudes towards disabled people. But one, I'm not sure it's my right to talk about it just because I kiss her. It's does that buy me the right? I don't know. It's a battle. It's a thing I constantly battle. But the other thing is she's in Coronation Street, and you would think that the one thing that somebody would drop into conversation would be, which I know I just have for the purposes of entertainment. But it's very odd that I find myself more going, "Shoot, my partner's disabled," than going, "She's on the telly." So, and which I would have, if you'd said that to my 12-year-old self, I thought, "I go out with somebody from the telly, I'll tell everybody because that would be amazing." Don't give a shit about Coronation Street. But the wheelchair gets me brownie points. Anyway, I don't understand how it works. I just enunciate the craziness of life and hope to get a laugh every now and again. Now, everybody, our next. No, hang on. What's that? Is that a heckle I hear? I've been heckled via the medium of cyberspace. Where's it go? Gray the Earthling asks. Gray the Earthling. These handles, I think, they're lovely, but I don't think there's any disadvantage to putting a capital letter on each new. I'm sure you can't use spaces. I'm sure that's why you don't use them, because obviously otherwise, you would. So presumably spaces aren't allowed. I don't think a capital letter on each new word would do anybody any harm or require any extra effort on your part. That's all I'm saying.
The strange hill to die on, Tobes.
You'll look back when you're my age and go, "He seemed like an old stick in the mud, but I'm a capital letter sort of person now." It just makes things easier. Now, question for Toby. Do you miss the persistent mild peril of, mild peril is a very good phrase, of objects questionably suspended from the ceiling? It's just not the same without the threat of disco ball descent. That is a brilliant question. But for those of you that may not remember or haven't been to Access Malarkey for a long time or ever, we do have various stalagmites descending from. It is mites, isn't it? Yes, because tights you pull up. And that's how you remember stalagmite, isn't it?
Wait, no, I thought it was
tights fall down.
Tights fall down. Well, whoever came up with that was a naughty person. Oh, okay.
Hanging tight to the ceiling, and stalagmites might grow up towards the stalactites. I don't know. Somebody in the chat.
All right. Well, Tarty Pants the geologist has made it an altogether saucier prospect. So the tights fall down, do they? Well,
yeah. According to Fat Roland in the chat, mites go up, tights go down.
Tights go down. Well, obviously, the end of year party in Geologistsville is a very saucy affair. Okay, well, apologies for that. Well, I'm glad we cleared that up. I'll still forget. I still don't know which one's my left and right. That's my left because it's a left. Right. So anyway, yes, we do have a disco ball descending from the ceiling. Well, you will have noticed if you'd been to see the Tony Law show that actually something only fell from the ceiling on a night where I wasn't there. Was that all part of my plan? Yes, you'll have to have me comparing all the time, even because otherwise some of you might die.
We
My plan
were
doesn't work.
invited, Toby.
So I know I was invited, Ross, but if I spin a yarn, making me casting myself in the role of the unwanted pariah, it adds to my vulnerability, which, as you know, is part of my charm. Now, God Almighty, I don't know what it's like watching this at home. So Gray the Earthling. Yes, I actually don't feel mild peril when I'm at Excess Malarkey. But if you do, and that's what keeps you there, I'm happy with that. I like people to be a bit scared when I'm standing in front of them. And, obviously, if you do get crushed by a disco ball, I think there are worse ways to go. Marmalade Fandango says, representing the sober darkness of today's world, but offering polka dots of hope, Toby's cravat ensemble, although somewhat missing the collar, is somehow manages to hit the mark. Should it be outside of the collar?
No,
because I don't think of this as a cravat. That's more of a sort of Jack Hawkins, tucked in and all that sort of thing cravat. Whereas this is more of a swish. This is more of a sort of European cravat, isn't it? Rather than
scarf,
so maybe
isn't it?
it's a scarf. Yeah, that's right. It's not a scarf. No, it's not a scarf. The audio quality is incomparable. A scarf, a throw, an Isadora Duncan. Toby's tie review today: purple star, purple star, purple star, purple star. 4 stars. Marmalade Fandango. So it's not a question so much as a review of my accoutrements. Well, thank you very much, Marmalade Fandango. I will take it. And my friend Matt, when I did a Zoom call the other day with my one of my social circles, which comprises entirely of bald men, that there is actually an Italian word, and he couldn't think of the word, for somebody wearing things that don't go together, yet somehow ostentatiously pulling them off. And he said that's what I had done. I'll take it. Mics up, tights down. Yeah, I think that's a sign of the times. Right, let's crack on. The chat is loving my naked arms. Well, I suppose people have never seen my arms before because I normally wear a jacket, but it's quite warm in Haydock Towers. All this talk of tights down. This is also the first time I've done a gig in my slippers. Why is your naked why is it loving my naked forearms? Well, okay, well, I mean, I'm not an object, but if you have to look, I'm not going to stop you. Anyway, my tot in here. Now, I'll soon have to get out of these wet things. Now, on with the next act, who's looking increasingly like he's feeling sick at my onslaught, at my rather becoming onslaught of sauciness. Now, he's a terrific act who I'm sure first met at Excess, and has been doing brilliantly and deservedly well, and it's fantastic that he's joined us this evening. So I'm going to ask the ninjas and pumpkins to mingle, and please give a big warm round of applause to the fantastic Nigel Ng!
Hey! Hello everyone. Hello Excess Malarkey Twitch stream people. Hope you guys are doing well in this lockdown. I noticed that, like throughout this whole pandemic, right, I've been getting all these emails from every company ever saying, oh yeah, we stand together with you. We'll get through this lockdown together. And I just want to say to them, like, I bought a plunger from you 2 years ago. All right? We are not in this together, Wilco. I got an email from Premier Inn, like last week. They're just desperate, right, at this point. They're sending me emails like, oh, how about Valentine's Day, February 2021? Why not take your loved one on a treat and stay over in Liverpool? If lockdown lifts, I'm not going to Liverpool, all right? I'm going to Wuhan, China. There's cheap flights. And I don't know about you, but my parents and my family were all in a WhatsApp group, right? And my parents, my mom especially, she's been sending me just these like home remedies for coronavirus cures, like garlic cures coronavirus, lemon cures coronavirus. And I just want to say to her, like, well, how convenient, Mom, that all the cures for coronavirus is in your kitchen. You know, scientists all over the world, they're scrambling to find a vaccine, and you're just like, nah, just gargle hot water. You know, that's good. Fuck the lab. Let's just go to Linda's house. That's where all the cures are. So I don't know if you have any like fake news like that in your WhatsApp groups. And I want to share this thing with you guys. The worst purchase I made this year is a 2020 daily calendar planner. I have it here. Look at this. It's the worst shit. Each page is like a week, so you can see like each page is 3 days, and it's very empty. Let's put it that way. Let's just postpone 2020 to 2021. Can we do that? I kind of want to use this book. I don't want to waste it. But I did try to fill out a few entries in this thing, you know. So I'll read out a few things for you guys. I don't even know if this is gonna be funny, but you know, we'll see how it goes. So April 9th, Thursday, April 9th, dressed up to go out today. The people in Tesco did not appreciate it. They told me to stop touching all the vegetables and just pick one. Yeah, people don't seem to like that nowadays, you know. But you gotta pick, right? Who just blindly buys an onion? You gotta choose. Gotta choose the right one. All right, next entries. These are like 3 days in a row. So Friday, 17th April. Who knew I was one pandemic away from getting a Pornhub premium account? Saturday, 18th April. Bought a virtual reality headset. Unrelated to previous entry. Sunday, 19th April. Noise complaint from neighbor. All right. Because sometimes you put your headset on, and then that's the tricky thing about Bluetooth, you know, connecting to Bluetooth. You don't know which Bluetooth device your phone is connected to. It could be your headphones, it could be your giant ass Bluetooth speakers just blasting porn sounds throughout your tiny flat. And the whole building can hear it. So learn from me, guys. I just crave eating out a lot. You know, I crave food that's not cooked by myself. You know, I miss Asian food. Really, it's hard to make at home because the ingredients are hard to get without venturing to Chinatown. And I'm so desperate for Asian food now. I almost bought sushi from a Boots. You know, I have a whole routine making fun of sushi from Boots, and why would people buy that? Now I feel like I'm tempted now. You know, I go into a Boots, I'm like, oh, I know it's supposed to be shit, but it's still rice wrapped in seaweed. Ugh. I'm just desperate. I don't know. I think in normal times, don't buy sushi from Boots. All right, it's not the right place to get your sushi. I think the people who buy sushi from Boots are the same people who buy like a dildo from Poundland. Right? I know it's convenient, but treat yourself better. Don't put that shit in you, people. And yeah, it's I don't know about the people in the Twitch stream, but are you guys, anyone here furloughed or working from home? I guess most people are working from home right now, right? I don't know about you guys in the comics back room here. You guys are all full-time comics, so we are all unemployed right now. But people in the Twitch stream might be more fortunate. And I think working from home, it sounds nice for the first week, doesn't it? Right? The first week, I've worked in an office job before, you know, the first week working from home, oh my God, this is amazing. But 10 weeks in to working from home, you crave the human interaction now, don't you, people? You know, you even miss the person who microwaves fish in the office. Right? You just crave bitching about Karen who microwaved her mackerel again. So that's what you miss. You know? Yeah, I know. You don't tell people you don't like that either. You know, when I used to work, I'm from Malaysia originally, right? So my first office job here is not in the handbook that you're not supposed to microwave fish in the office. They don't tell you that. And then British people, you guys aren't like very direct either. So I remember microwaving fish one time in the office, and then this lady came out to me and she said, "Huh, did you microwave fish in here?" And I went, "Yeah, sorry, it's my salmon." And then she said, "Huh, interesting choice. And now I know she just called me a cunt in her head. That is your British Morse code polite speak for cunt, you know? You don't. You gotta tell people. And I have a lot of friends now too who are doing because we have to be socially distancing. They are doing FaceTime or Zoom dates, which is just baffling to me. I don't know if you guys do it in the Twitch stream. Let me know. Give me a comment. I'll keep an eye on it. But I don't see how that can work. You know, what if the date goes really well and then you want to, you know, get intimate with each other? What happens then? She takes her clothes off and then you see your face in the top left corner. I don't want to see myself see tits. All right, it's gross. Why am I smiling so much? Jesus. Sometimes the Wi-Fi drops so your face freezes on the screen for a split second. Yeah, nobody needs to see that. Just see your wanking old face. Ugh. I don't want to see that. So no Zoom dates. Great. MCK Jared, no Zoom dates. Good. Don't do that shit. It's weird. It's gross. Just get a Pornhub premium account. That will satisfy your needs, people. I before this lockdown, I remember I was seeing someone, and I wasn't ready for a serious relationship yet, right? So she asked me she asked me to be her proper boyfriend, but I was like, I'm not ready for this yet. And here's how she tried to convince me, she literally she said, you have to be my boyfriend because I ate your ass. Which is that's not a thing. All right, you can't trap a guy like that. Like, I didn't even ask her to do it, she just went for it. I wasn't raped, but I was surprised. Let's put it that way. Oh man. You can't just give me something I didn't ask for and then want something in return, You can't. She's like one of those people who just come clean your windows and clean your windscreens at the stoplights and ask for payment later. She's just like that. And the thing is, I wanted to tell her, well, I let you use my toothbrush, so I ate my ass too. Okay, I'll date myself. I don't need no woman. The weirdest thing was we went to get Chinese food one time, dim sum, and she got grossed out by chicken feet. And I was like, you've eaten worse shit than that. You can handle human ass, but you can't touch chicken feet? So she has the coronavirus now. That's how you get it, by the way. It's not bat soup. It's human ass eating. That's what it is. All right, I think that's a good place to end on. So thank you for having me. I really miss Access Malarkey. It's a great club. We should go back there soon. Thank you.
Nigel, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, thank you, Nigel. That was brilliant. So much of that struck a chord with me. I love the microwave. No, not the last bit. Goodness me. I mean, she must have been in the moment, mustn't she? Not to at least run it by you first.
Yeah. I'm sure you've had that experience though, Toby, right? You've never done it with your wife?
What?
Disabled people deserve to get their ass eaten too, Toby.
Right, okay. Well, I'm not sure that's up on the list of things that they're after. I've listened to the campaigning material. It doesn't appear on many of the press releases. But I'll have a look after access to buildings, better representation. I'll see where ass eating. Ass. You see, I'm not a fan of that word being used for the bottom anyway, because it's actually a donkey, whereas arse is it's a whole different. I think we call it bottom munching in Haydock Towers. Should we ever need to come up with a descriptor for an act that is, I would say, is not actively promoted here in South Manchester, but good for you. I'm glad you were given that surprise. Did you discuss it afterwards, or was it unspoken until she unleashed it as an excuse for longer term coupling?
Yeah, I think she just unleashed it on me.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
saved that card.
yeah, it's. I think it's an. I mean, I'll occasionally, sometimes, do a supermarket shop where I've got an awful lot of real good 2-for-1 bargains, and I won't mention it until I won't mention it until then. There's a bit of, oh, you're a bit careless with money. I'll go, I saved £7.50 because of the Jif lemon and the shampoo that I bought.
Yeah. So the ass eating was a way of keeping the receipts,
Yeah, absolutely. Perhaps, right. Well, perhaps I should do, because I can't often get in trouble at home. Perhaps I should do a bit of the old ass eating, and then when I'm neglectful, when I don't tidy the living room, I'll go, yeah, but you may be cross, but your bottom's smiling, and yes, excellent, good, right. Well, she's actually probably watching this next door now. So right. Oh dear. Anyway, Nigel, that's about. Yes. Oh, good. Well, so welcome. Thanks for doing this. How has lockdown been for you?
It was rough at first. I lived by myself in a studio flat in London, and London place is tiny. But now I found a routine. I go to the park to exercise 3 times a week, and I have a routine of just waking up and doing stuff, trying to be creative. Podcasting, making videos, doing Zoom gigs like these. It's okay. Money is tough, but I'm getting by okay.
Good. We have a question. We have a question from somebody in the audience who's been paying close attention to you and your and it's your actual background, because in Zoom sometimes people can have false ones. But they are asking, is that a bottle of Yamazaki whiskey in the background?
Yes. Wow. Discerning audience. Who is it? Who was it?
It's one that I've been sent here, so I don't know who has asked that, but I'm sure Roswell sent me who has asked.
It's John.
It's John. Oh, it's John, as in John XS Malarkey, John.
Yes, John XS Malarkey.
Oh, John.
Yeah.
It is a Yamazaki, and I have that's a Yamazaki no age statement, which is just regular Yamazaki. I also have a Yamazaki 12, so that's right. I can see it. I'll bring it.
Oh, this has become the podcast of connoisseurs.
Yes, let me cover my face so the focus kicks in. Yes.
Yeah,
lovely whiskey. So give it a try, people.
And how have you managed not to drink it all, because there's simply nothing else to do?
Well, that's why I have cheap ones. Those are the binge drinking ones.
Yeah.
This is for like a little. I have a little whiskey glass. The glass with a tulip shape. So there's a one little sip of this per night, and then the rest I just whack in a big regular water glass and binge drink from the cheap ones.
Yeah. That's a very good way of doing it. Yes. So your first couple of glasses are for best, and then the rest just any old shit. Yeah.
Yeah. When you get drunk enough, you can drink water, and it's still fine. Enjoy yourself.
For me, it was I'd have a Chablis and then a box of Tesco Suave, because once you have a bottle of Chablis, who gives a monkeys? So, well, okay, Nigel, what about you? Did you have, obviously from microwaving fish in offices, and that did really hit with me, because I get really annoyed on the train. I'm a bit, and when people listen to music and stuff, it really sets my head off. I don't like it at all. And so I think everybody's against me. And then, of course, it's only when you see things from other people's perspective. When I was dieting, I would always have that vacuum packed salmon, poached salmon, because it was protein and it was low fat, and you could just get it from Marks and Spencer. And I'd always eat it on the train. It was only after a while that I noticed, as soon as I opened it, the people sitting around me were going like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" And that for them was their loud music for me. I'm there going, "People are just so inconsiderate. Here's my lunch," So that did strike a chord with me, where I'm the baddie. But so you worked in offices and stuff. So what was your sort of career and job before you thought of doing stand up, and why did you decide to go on the path of the comedian?
Comedian. I just enjoyed doing it a lot, So I really miss going on stage now. And before full-time comedy, I was just working at like startups, trendy young people beanbag type places, Yeah.
Well, because you seem like a trendy young beanbag kind of guy to me, and that seems to be a much more fulfilling and sensible way to earn a living than shouting at people in barns.
Nah, comedy's more fun, man. The beanbag life gets old after a while.
Oh. And how long have you been doing it? Because you've been doing. I mean, you've been doing particularly well in the last couple of years, haven't you? Things have.
Yeah, I was very lucky I got nominated for a small award last year, the Edinburgh Newcomer thing. So that was very unexpected. And
It's not a small award; it's a massive award. Don't
Ah.
say it.
Thank you. But I really wasn't expecting it because my type of humor is not exactly the most highbrow, artsy Edinburgh fringe style humor. So I'm just happy to be nominated for that. I've been doing it since 2011, but the first 4 or 5 years were just very casual, one maybe twice a week, and just gradually it just ramped up over the years. I was based in the U.S. at the time, in America. And then I moved to the UK in 2015, and then it was after 2015 when things started picking up. Started gigging more on the weekends at clubs, trying to get in and do weekend spots here. So, yeah, been going 9 years.
And was it easier breaking through in the UK than it would have been in the US? It's a very different circuit there, isn't it?
Yeah, I have no idea. In the US, I was just open micing once a week, twice a week, so it wasn't even. It was just a doing it for fun thing. It was only so I wouldn't know if it would be possible to break into the US or what the process is over there. So I really can't say. But I think even in the UK now, it's tougher now. It takes years, like maybe a year or two, to start getting paid spot at clubs. So I'm just fortunate to be at the point. Well, before the pandemic, I feel fortunate to be at the point where I could pay my bills and just do stand up and cover all my living expenses and stuff.
Were you going to Edinburgh this year?
No, I wasn't. But I feel so bad for the people who were supposed to go up this year, because can you imagine? Some people went for a photo shoot for nothing.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for them.
Yeah. Because you can use the jokes again. You can't use the photos.
Yeah, maybe you can, unless you just age horribly in 2020. Gain a lot of weight from the quarantine.
Mate, I still use publicity photos for my first Edinburgh show, which was in 2006, but I had a hat on. Oh dear. So where can people find you online if they're looking to see more of what you're up to?
Yes, I'm on all the social media platforms, including TikTok, and yes, I'm very active on there. So find me on all Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, on at Mr. Nigel Ng. So it's MrNigelNG. If you look at the stream, it's my name on there. Oh, it's not on there. Oh, yeah, it's on there. So MR, then my name, Nigel Ng.
And what do you do on TikTok? Do you dance to a tune?
No, I don't. No. Like, you don't have to dance if you don't want to. I just basically the stuff I post to Instagram, I make like little funny videos for Instagram, and then I would just repurpose them for TikTok. So for Instagram, it's like a little square video, and then I'll make them like tall for TikTok. It's the same content, really. So just follow me on Instagram. That's my main one.
Yeah, that was just noise, but well done. I don't understand how any of it works. It doesn't show all the episode of Z-Cars. I'm not interested. The people in my house are threatening to teach me how to do a TikTok video.
Lord.
Watch this space. Yes, Ross
You should do it. You'll get your daughter or your kids a lot of views. I don't know if you have kids.
Well, I do, but they're probably closer to your age than I am. It's a terrifying thing. I don't think we should be allowed to talk to each other. But no, next time we meet, Nigel, I may well have dabbled with the TikToking, and I may be a changed man.
Yes.
But for now, thank you so much for giving us your time and joining us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Nigel Ng.
Thank you.
And picking up on some of the chat that we were having before, Beth, who's on later, has indeed sent a message about the whole no spaces, no caps thing, and points out, which I think is very important, is that if you have no caps and no spaces, these men becomes the seaman. And of course, that can start up all sorts of bits of complication, which I have to say, going back to the stalactites and stalagmites things, if you're going to do a thing that helps with the naming of something, don't do it that involves something that can go in both directions. Don't say, let's name it after tights because tights go down, because somebody else will go, but tights can go up as well. Yeah, but they go down. Yeah, but then I have to remember that, it's tights, but it's also tights going in a particular direction. That's like calling them stalacendulums and going, well, it's a pendulum, isn't it? So they go to the right. Yeah, but pendulums also go to the left. They could call them stalacemmings, and they're like lemmings, because lemmings go down. They don't do anything else. I mean, then you'll get some wise ass going, I think you'll find they don't actually jump off cliffs anyway. You can beat them to death. Or actually, geology twats over there going, pulling your colleagues' tights down at the Christmas party. Yeah, it's not the 70s now, stone people. Why don't you just call them stalacups and stalacowns? And that rhymes with up and down, and then we'll fucking know, you bad rock people. Right, so that's them told.
Finally, someone's saying it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm saying the things that others are too afraid to say. Those geologists have been getting away with it for too long with their bad naming of geological features. So do it differently, Stone Age. Yeah, no wonder they call it the Stone Age, because that's where you lot are from. Right, well, we've just lost the geologists there tonight, so that's one corner of Access that'll be sitting in stony silence. Oh my God, I've got a theme for the night. Right. So let's crack on. Hey, they're a bit quiet at the back. You're harder than diamond. Now, let's. Let's crack on. So the next act. Do I have any more? Did I have a question, by the way? Because I don't want to forget questions, because people have kindly sent questions at other gigs, and then we've realised too late, and I don't encourage you to heckle or ask us things and then forget. No, we're doing okay. We're doing. Oh no, hang on.
By the way, that was the most break. That was like watching a breakdown.
Yeah, well, that's well, welcome to my act.
It felt very private. I didn't feel like we should be watching.
Yeah. Well, that's what a lot of people say about my comedy. Thank you very much. I think people often enjoy it much more if they're not watching, but they can just imagine how good it is. I'm like the Emperor's New Comedy. It's much better to just imagine what it could be like.
Just like this.
So, well, he's introduced himself. We have an act now. I'm very excited to see. I was watching.
No, sorry, I don't know when we're supposed to talk.
You're going to come in now. It's great. No, I like it. There is no fault. We don't play by no rules.
No, correct.
We can sometimes call a ruby an emerald, and I don't give no shits. So I've been watching some of this gentleman's videos today, and it was making me laugh an awful lot. So it's with great pleasure that I'm going to welcome into the Excess Malarkey fold. Stamp your feet, clap your hands, pumpkins and ninjas together. It's Mr. Mo Omar.
Hello. Yes. Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I've made an effort to make up for the grainy video. I've decided to wear a cream jacket against a cream background. Help with the shapelessness. Nigel earlier was talking about unless you age horribly, like in the next year if you had photos taken. I didn't have photos taken, but I've finally managed to get that. Do you know that V that you can get in your? Do you know like that V, that sexy V? I've got that, but the way I've achieved it is from a belly that now casts a shadow over my crotch. So now you can no longer see my penis. So thank you. I've tried to disappoint myself further over this lockdown. There's not. So yes, my name is Mo. I live at home. Which used to be an offensive thing to tell people, but now everyone has moved back home, and I know you're only allowed. So basically, what I've planned is I know you're only allowed 1 hour a day of exercise. So I've been saving all those up. I haven't left the house in about 8 days, and I'm running away tomorrow. So I'm planning to get as far as possible before I have to come back. So my name's Mo. I'm from Somalia. I was born there. I came here as a refugee, Christmas 2003, on holiday, and it's great. It's nice. It's really nice. Obviously, it's a beautiful country. Obviously, right now you can't travel there, but after the lockdown, not Liverpool, Somalia is the top spot. It is the best beaches, the best holidays, blue seas, blue skies. It's completely untouched, except for the wreckage. Completely untouched, and it's like recently we actually got to go there. We went there on holiday, and it's a weird thing to go there on holiday, because it's a completely different experience. Because I went to Somaliland on holiday. Somaliland, functioning government, virtually normal, okay. And then soon after that, I actually went to Somalia to do a gig for the forces. The British forces, don't worry, we know whose side we're on. And first business class, which to Somalia is economy. You just don't share with the okay. And we eventually landed in Mogadishu International Airport, which is very hopefully named, because let me tell you, it's very much a local airport. Very few flights in, few flights out. You arrive, there's like literally one desk at passport control. There's 4 guys around the desk. You pay them $60, and that's all the checks they do. Like, that's genuinely it. Like, the guy looked at me, looked at the money in my hand, and then let me pass. But then my colleagues, who are of a more Caucasian persuasion, they got stopped. So basically, the odd thing was, this was the first time I'd experienced. I thought I'd experienced some sort of privilege, okay? But it turns out, I asked him. I went up to the guy. I was like, "Don't worry, guys. I'm the only one who can speak the language." So I'll go speak to the guy. I went up to the guy and he said, "I said, brother," which by the way, brother is something we call each other, the same way we call you guys, sir. Okay. So I said to him, brother, why have you stopped our brother sirs? Okay. And he was like, oh, because they need a letter from the embassy. And I said, oh, why is that? So, because we're worried about their safety. And what? And it's like, oh, because, we don't want to risk their lives. But you let me through. And he said, yeah, but you look like us. You're one of us. There's no risk for you. And I had to sit outside the airport for 4 hours while they had to get processed in a separate queue, which was great. It was really nice. But now, live in the UK, it's nice, right? It's great. It's perfect. I'm from Wales. I was Wales, yeah, Welsh. I'm a Welsh Somali, which kind of makes me a unicorn. Because it doesn't exist either, and it's nice. It's nice being from Wales. It's a small country. It's nice to be from a small country. I feel like because basically Nigel will probably agree with this. You get this a lot when you go abroad, and people ask you, "Oh, you guys everyone gets this." I mean, I'm assuming basically when you tell your relatives back home where you live, you say, "I'm in the UK." They go London. And then you say, no, Cardiff. They'll go, so not UK. So no, UK is separate. And you get a map out and you start explaining to them. And by the end, they think you're lying. They say, you live here, don't you? You're lying. And then you say, no, I do live abroad. It's like, he's a liar. He's just trying to, he's a con man. So Wales is a small country. I've had a lot of experiences there. That's where I first started drinking. Yeah. I was on the day I turned 18. I was on my way to school, and I stopped off at the shop, and I bought myself a bottle of WKD Blue and a pack of Windsor menthols, because I'm a basic bitch. And it was great. I haven't stopped since. Why not, right? Why not? What else? Honestly, I think the only reason people in the UK pretend to be so happy is because of the alcohol. Because before I started drinking, I used to look at my friends who'd go to these house parties, and then the next day they'd come back and they'd tell me how amazing they were. Do you remember that? Every day, people would be like, this crazy thing happened, and then this happened, and then this. And then you go, if you ever go to a house party sober, it's a different reality. Things are a lot slower in your version of the party. Everything is like my first ever house party I went to. I wasn't invited. My friend Rohan was invited because he was the attractive one of the group. And he was allowed a +1, and he brought me. I wore a blazer, much like this one, and he wore a vest. They were both the same color. We looked like we were sharing the same 3-piece suit. Okay, and we arrive at the party. We go in, and we thought it was going to be like Skins. Do you guys remember Skins? It's like, you remember when you think you're going to go in, and in 4 hours, 2 girls will be pregnant, one will have had an abortion. The second one's kid is already part of the group and is shagging someone else. You think it was like sped up. We arrive at the house party, and it was quite a posh place. The house. It was the kind of place where when you got to the front of the house, it wasn't the front. Do you know what I mean? Like the front wasn't the beginning of the house. It's just the front. Then there's a gate, and then there's a big courtyard, and then you get to the house. So there's the houses like where I grew up. The house started where it began. Like you arrived at our house and you were in our house, and a few more steps and you were back outside the back of our house. Very little distance between beginning and end. But this girl, she had a lot of space, but she then took us around because they even had an around. That's the kind of money they had. They had an around, so we went around their house. Where they built little glass houses as extensions, conservatories. She had 3. And each one had a different use. So one was for drinking, one was for smoking, and one was for smoking weed. Because you need one for smoking weed, all right? So you get in the first one, and we think there's going to be like booze everywhere. In every American house party, there's so much booze, isn't there? It was almost provided by a company, all right? But when you go to a British house party, it's 1 bottle of Strongbow that they're all sitting in a circle sharing. And everyone's playing top trumps with how depressed they are, and trying to be like, I'm really sad. No, you're not as sad as me. There's no way you're as sad as me. And essentially, we stayed at that party. We toured all the conservatories. At the weed one, we sat down, and a girl sat down next to Rohan. She was being a bit drunk. She sat down next to him, and he said, "Oh, you're drinking a lot. Why is that?" And she said, because my boyfriend jumped in front of a bus. Now, by the way, not true. Remember earlier on when I mentioned the top trumps thing? She was still playing, and Rohan didn't know. So we got up and we left. We were at that party for 28 minutes. That was my first ever house party, and that's when you found out that you have to drink in this country to enjoy it. So that was a great story about house parties. But now, obviously I'm a kept man. I feel like I've integrated in this country. I smoke, I drink. I've taken a white woman. Yeah. I say she's white. She's Australian, which is like stealing off the reduced style. But I feel like it still counts. It's entry level white. It's reduced section. No, she's great. She's a good person. She's a good person. She's the kind of person who's friends with homeless people. Do you guys know homeless people? They live just outside of your peripheral vision. You guys know. She's friends with this one homeless guy. His name's Sharky. Okay, and her and Sharky have this thing. Every December, he'll take her bike and he'll hide it. And then for £20, he'll find it for her. Okay, and she says to me, she's like, "Oh, it's a little tradition." But it's not, is it? It's extortion. Like he knows it's extortion, and she just left. But she's great. I think that I think that's I've been Mo Omar. Bonjour.
Thank
you.
Gentlemen, in what was, because I don't expect all of the audience to have been every week, but I know some have. Mo, that was your excess Malarkey debut, because you've not crossed our threshold before. So welcome.
Thank you.
It's not normally like this.
What?
There's normally a building and an audience. Yeah, there's normally a building, an audience, actual people. Although I'm getting quite, I don't know about you, but I'm getting quite used to this performing from home thing. Are you missing the live crowds and the people, or do you think we should do comedy like this where we actually don't have to get off our asses?
I need to leave. I need a reason to leave the house, mate. There's no when they offered us the 1 hour a day of exercise, I went for when was I doing that before? I only leave. Do you know that train journey to the gig?
Yeah.
And then walking around for an hour before you get in to the gig, and then doing that gig, and then like running back to the train, and that interaction you might have with another comic who's catching the same train home. That was my social interaction. I've not made an effort to have friends outside of comedy, and I'm now feeling the effects. Because I've just kind of assumed people are there when I arrive at a place. So why would I ever text someone? I didn't have most of my friends' numbers. Like I just knew I'd see them at a place. And now I'm having to dig through Facebook, and I see the last message I sent them was 2017. And they think I'm dead. So I don't know. I do miss the travel. Yeah, that was the best part, I think.
I must say I completely identify with that. It's occasionally happened to me during lockdown when somebody sent me a message and said, "Oh, have you got so and so's number?" And I go, "Oh yeah, so and so's a very good friend of mine." Oh no. I considered them, but I've never been to their house, of course. As you say, our social lives are sort of organised by gig bookers who just mean that we end up in the same vicinity every now and again.
Yeah, definitely. But it's also teaching you when was it a friendship by convenience, and when was it a friendship by actual mutual interest. Because sometimes I've tried to talk to people who I've known since I first started doing comedy, and without talking about gigs or writing, we have very little in common. One of my friends apparently owns a company that does bids for massive construction. I did not know this. I just always would see him closing the laptop and talking to me, and now I realized. I was talking to him. I was like, oh yeah, because my other job was I worked as a teaching assistant. Okay. And that was my backup plan that my mother made me get just in case comedy fell through, and then comedy fell through, and at the same time teaching fell through. So it was the plan A and B went at the same time. But I was talking to my friend, and he was like, "Oh, so what do you think you're gonna do?" Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Yeah, blah 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 blah." We're discussing, and then I went, "What about you, man? What did your company say to you?" He was like, "Well, I own my company." And I went, "Do you?" And he went, "Yeah." It's like it's a bidding company. I do bids for. And he explained it to me, and I realized my friend was smart, and and I resented him for it.
Yeah.
I resented that he had hidden this intelligence from me.
Isn't it also that thing of also going, but hang on, you mean you don't have to do this? There's also that, isn't it? It's like, wait a minute, that's not right.
He started the company 2 years ago while we had been doing comedy. So it's like, what, you did this behind my back? And he went, no, I was plain view. Oh.
So this was what you were doing whilst I was in the travel lodge.
Yeah, precisely. It's fun,
and I do
change.
like I do like the teaching as a backup to stand up. That's a bit like doing a drama degree and then doing a media studies degree in case that falls through.
Hey, that comparison would not have worked 3 months ago. Okay, that's not fair. That was my smartest choice at the time. It was the most sensible thing I'd done. And also it was a really nice school. It was working for special needs children. So I was like, I definitely won't lose this job. Like there's like I've hedged my bets here. It's a specialist school. But even then, I didn't plan on a pandemic. So next time I will. Man, what if everyone is dead? But no, it's fine. It'll work out. Que sera sera.
So what about the comedy, Mo? How what had you always been a fan? Who were your influences, and was it always something that you'd harbored an ambition to do?
Oh, I did loads of stuff before. I've dropped out of uni like 4 times. I studied law. I did philosophy. I did a foundation in art. I did business management. And so I've tried a lot of things. And I started doing this because I was working at a Holiday Inn in Bristol. And I had to quit. I just dropped out of uni, and my friend told the council that I had dropped out. And so I was paying council tax for the house of my student house, a 4-bedroom house, where I would only get a discount. So I was working loads of hours and like paying extortionate amounts of council tax. And by the end of the year, I just went, I'm sick of this. So I decided I'm just going to do something else that isn't university based. Because the issue with university is that you have to actually want to be there. Getting in is not where it ends. Like there's no right into the sunset, and that's always what I would do. I would get into the university. I'd be like, well, now everything's ready. I'm done. And then they're like, here's 4 years, and you're like, that's a lot. I'm gonna go for lunch, and I'll come back. So yeah, no, that's basically what I did. I just started. I bought Logan Murray's book. The stand-up one, and then I just started because I was gonna do. I couldn't afford the course, so I was like, if I read the book, I'll just kind of guess what he would say, and it worked out. Yeah.
So you basically crammed at the last minute and then did it. Brilliant. And
Yeah. No.
And so have you been producing much content since the pandemic? Have you been doing stuff online?
It's sporadic because I do it when I'm feeling it. I'm part of this group called the Lost Comics, which is basically like everyone just puts 2 videos out a month, and I'm a bit behind, but it helps to like have like this thing with this place where you just upload it. In regards to Twitter and Instagram, it's just whenever I feel like I had a funny idea that I'll just make it right then and there. Because that's, you always hear that from people. It's like, in this age of technology, you can just do it. And you're like, yeah, but what if you don't wanna? Like that should be that's part of the equation, right? I don't want to do it. I'm enjoying. I'm still not finished Netflix. There's this Spanish series called Bank Heist that I need to watch in different languages, just to see what they're saying in different ways. It's a great show. Have you seen it?
I love it. I have seen it all.
Oh, mate. Oh, my God.
I love it.
So good. It's so good. It's insane. Like, I can't believe it. I didn't know about it beforehand.
Nairobi is my favourite. She's the best. We love Nairobi in 8 Oak Towers.
Oh. And what's that song they sing?
Bella Ciao.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. You have to watch it, everybody. But I entertain the idea of watching it in all of the different. I watch it with the subtitles, but I like the idea of watching each episode with the different dubbed language, just to get the full spectrum of experiences. You haven't enjoyed Money Heist until you've seen it in the French version. I love that idea. Wankers at dinner parties all over going, well, I've seen it in. I've seen the one they ship in from Mogadishu. You can only get it on special Netflix.
There's 4 extra seconds of footage over that.
Yeah, because the words are longer. You see, the words are longer. Now then, there's a great clip of you online on the Harry Hill show. How did that come about? Was that an enjoyable experience?
Oh yeah, that was. So I was doing the Pleasance Reserve in Edinburgh, and then one of the producers saw me, and they asked you to come in for an audition, and you're like, oh, you turn up and you think, oh, the people here are like, there were all sorts of wacky, weird, like it's Harry Hill's club night. If you watch the show, there's all sorts of like, I don't know what the word for it is, but they have like special skills that you're watching them and you're just like, well, I'm useless. I'm just talking. Because do you ever watch other people doing stuff with pianos and like dancing across the room and then like blow fire and then they still get a laugh as well?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'm just trying to work out how I can say fart in a different way so I can edit it. So I did the audition, and they were really they played it, and the day was just really surreal. Like there was one point where I was sat next to Harry Hill, and I was doing that. I was moaning about the same thing when I said I wish I could sing or play an instrument, and he was like, "Yeah, I think I feel the same way too." Because I was a doctor before this, and I was just like, "You're Harry Hill, shut up, man! Like let's you can't." Don't try and empathize with me with your big collars. Don't try. But yeah, no, it was really nice. It's really cool.
Well, fantastic. Well, look, it's brilliant to finally sort of meet you, although we're very much socially distanced. But it will be great when you can come into our actual building. It will be fantastic to see you on the Excess stage. But thank you for giving such a good of your account of
Thank
yourself.
you very much.
Omar, ladies and gentlemen, give it up. Brilliant. And right, well, we're gonna crack on with our final activity. This has been an absolute joy. Do you know what? We didn't know if these Zoom shows would work, and hats off to Roz and John and Joe and Hannah and Jay on the piano, all the behind the scenes people at Excess. Because I'm just a totty. I just turn up. And I think these have been great fun to do. I'm not advocating, when the plague is gone, that we all stay. I'm sort of advocating that we all stay. I like gigging in my slippers. I've got my pajamas on below screen, but it has been rather fun, and it's nice talking to the comics and doing that. And we do that on Sundays at Excess Malarkey. We very much do that. We play an archive performance. We play various clips from a comedian, and then we quiz them afterwards. And if you're not sure whether that would work or not, watch last week's. It's still on the twist on the Twitch stream with Colin Holt explaining the inspiration behind Anna Mann, his brilliant creation, and his description of the actress that caught him reading Dostoevsky. I had me in absolute stitches, and it was a really interesting. I hate to sound pretentious, into the creative process, but if you're interested in comedy and how it works, we're doing something a little bit different, and tune into that on a Sunday. I do have a couple more heckles that I think. What's Up Doc has sent. Typing like this is called camel typing, and What's Up Doc has done it with a capital on each new word, as I was advocating, and it's used a lot in coding. Now, I don't know whether that means so if you do it on Twitch, you accidentally start a nuclear war. I don't know. Oh, no.
I love that your reference for coding is the Matthew Broderick movie War Games.
Yes, indeed. Well, it's true. I was on stage not long ago, and I was trying to think of a modern pop group, and Kajagoogoo was... Pascal Case is typing like this. Oh, so is it Pascal Case or is it camel typing, or is that some sort of well? And now it just says camel typing starts with a lowercase. Oh, camel typing starts with a lowercase. So What's Up Doc is basically having an argument and set with themselves and sending it to me. Thanks for that. Now there was a question. Someone was asking me somewhere about what my TV recommendations are, but I can't find that. Oh, Ian would like your lockdown TV recommendations. Well, as Mo and I were discussing, Money Heist is where the clever money is. If you like a heist movie, but one that takes many episodes, and got to the end of the series, is actually then another series. So it's 4 series, but it's really 2 series. But they don't half know how to do a cliffhanger. Cool lady bank heisters know how to hold a gun because they hold their machine guns behind their heads in a cool Spanish way. I think there's a bit too much. I think if you're a lady in it, you have to be in your pants, which I'm not sure you need in a television program about a heist. If I want to watch a program about ladies in their pants, I'll watch the Pants Ladies. I wouldn't watch it. So, but if you are a person who likes guns and ladies in their pants, it's the ideal show for you. But I actually don't even look when the ladies have their pants on. And it's got men in it too, but you don't see their pants so often. and I think there's some. Yes, indeed. Think on television. But it's very good. It's all in Spanish, but for some reason they can understand each other. And it's really good. So yes, that I did start watching White Lines, which is by the people who made Money Heist, but they've made it. But it's an English language show. And it's all different sorts of English languages, even from some people who are from the same family and yet from completely different parts of Manchester. Unfortunately, they forgot to put in any likable characters in Silver Hill after about 1 episode and 15 minutes, and instead watched Monty Don and Gardener's World, who I think is getting over the death of his dog Nigel with aplomb. I know I actually cried. I did a montage a couple of weeks ago of Nigel's, I wouldn't say his best bits. He largely had to sleep next to the flower beds, but he was a lovely dog. Yes. So Gardener's World. And I've actually been watching old episodes of Bill on YouTube because that's how I roll. And Fauda, which I think means chaos. Fauda is one about sort of Israel's security forces, and it's an Israeli show, and that has women in, but they largely wear something over their pants. So
Israel's quite warm as well.
Israel is quite warm, but they don't see the need to keep taking their trousers off. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Money Heist, and that's very good. Sorry,
it does. Bank Heist does sometimes turn into soft core. It just becomes a bit too like they just. It's like sometimes if you took a section of it, it would just be porn.
Because I think if you're gonna be softcore, you may as well take the pants off because that's what everybody wants. But if you're not gonna take the pants off, don't go as far as the pants. It's taking you on a journey that's going to end up satisfying nobody because the people that are in it. If you're in it for pants, I think you're in it for beyond. If your desire stops at the pants, I don't know who the fuck you are. Nobody's ever. I've never been lured back to a lady's abode. I could end there, but no, I've never. And she's gone, right, here I am in my pants, and go, well, that's enough for me. I'm satisfied. Cheerio. If you get to the pants, you go, well, presumably there's another phase to this encounter. So I think it's fool's gold. Televisual lady pants are fool's gold. So anyway, so that's what's in the Bank of Spain if you're on a money hunt. Now, right. Good. Let's crack on. We have a brilliant act to close the show. She has played, I should think, probably every spot on the Excess Malarkey Bill Bar compare. I don't think you have compared. You should do one of these days.
I've not. No, I've not.
No. Well, let's make sure I get some sort of theatrical engagement. So, an actor who's very dear to me personally and professionally, who's probably heard my life story more than anybody needs to, because in her early days she drove me around the country while I was touring, but has become one of the most reliably brilliant acts on the circuit, and it's a delight to see. Always a pleasure to see her at Excess Malarkey, because I think she's cut from our cloth and vice versa. Please, big warm welcome to an act on absolute fire every time I see her at the moment. Stamp your feet, clap your hands. But also, by the way, just so that you know, and I'm not coming across all Dido, but my tea's gone cold. I'm wondering why. So I'm going to go and fill it up while you do your first one. But I can't. I need.
All right, Toby, you won't miss anything.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Bethany Black.
Yay! Oh, hiya. Hello. This is lovely, actually. This is really nice. One of the things I've been really enjoying about doing Zoom gigs is, because I've not really done that many in the 10 weeks that we've been in lockdown, which seems a shame because most of my material was already about not going anywhere and not doing anything. Even before this happened, I got diagnosed with agoraphobia about a year ago. And initially, obviously, of course, I'm not scared of spiders. And then you find out that it's not that, it's fear of the outdoors. And you know what? I don't like going out anyway. So it's not really affected me that much. And the run up to this has been sort of great because I've been seeing this therapist, and it turns out that I'm quite insane. And that's more of a legal definition than a medical definition. I'm aware of that. But discover it, like, and because I've got all sorts of different issues and I've never quite fitted in with the world, and I've started to realize part of the reasons why that is. I found out I was autistic, and that was no surprise to anyone in my Pokemon Go group. And I found out that I had ADHD, which was of no surprise to anyone who spent any time with me whatsoever, because I genuinely can't manage to hold on to a thought for more than a couple of seconds at a time. And now they give me drugs for it, and it's fucking fantastic. So now I can do all of that shit that I didn't think I'd be able to do before. Like, I'd always just assume, like, you know how this whole thing, everyone going into lockdown, and there have been people going, well, you know, if you haven't written the great novel by the time you come out of lockdown, you never lacked the time, you lacked the ability and the determination. Fuck off, right? Because the thing is, like, I've gone into lockdown, and like, this is a testament to how unlucky I am as a person, right? I'm in lockdown. For the couple of weeks beforehand, it was great because I've had OCD for years, right? And I didn't realize that I had OCD because it wasn't really the cleaning type. It was more the intrusive thoughts type. But I do have a bit of the cleaning thing, like to the point that I think I'm the only person I know who washes their hands when they get out of the shower. So I was already doing this before the whole world went to shit. And for a couple of weeks before we went into lockdown, everybody was behaving like me, and it was fucking wonderful. For a couple of days, it was just like watching people going, oh, I can't touch that. I'm like, no, you can't, you filthy fuckers, can you? Like, that whole thing, the thing that I'm loving about the way that this has started to go was until about 2 months ago, everyone in the UK, when we were little, we were all taught, when you sneeze or cough, do it into your hand, right? Which on the one hand is kind of okay information. However, they always miss the second half of the lesson out, which is then wash your hands. Don't go around touching fucking everything that you've just sneezed into, because now this is the perfect way to go and move stuff about. It's fantastic. Like, whenever we had people coming into our house to go and do work, I am the type of arsehole who would like stand at the bottom of the stairs when a workman went to use the toilet and went, can you wash your hands afterwards? And like 9 times out of 10, they'd go, oh yeah, well, I didn't piss all over my hands. I'm like, no, but you touch your cock with them, and I don't want your cocky hands all over fucking everything in the house. I don't want your cock germs everywhere. So it was quite nice on that level for me. Obviously, it's a horrible fucking tragedy seeing everything that's going on in the world. A lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about, that tends to be how it is. Being autistic, often I don't recognise that the things that are good for me are terrible for other people, and vice versa. I don't really connect very well with people. So for me, this is ideal because I'm talking, none of you can talk back to me. It's my perfect way to interact with people socially. And this is how unlucky I am, right? Between my agoraphobia and my ADHD and my autism, I got a blue badge about 3 weeks before the lockdown happened. So now I can't go fucking anywhere, but if I did, I could park really fucking close to it. It's wonderful. But it hasn't worked with my anxiety either, because like in the couple of weeks that I could use it, I would go and park up somewhere, and I'd put my blue badge on the dashboard of my car, and then I'd get out of the car, and then I'd close the car, and then I'd be so worried about somebody breaking into my car and stealing my blue badge that a lot of the time I would then go back and go, no, I need to take the blue badge with me. No, actually, no, I can't do that. It's completely self-defeating. But and like I say, a testament to how being ridiculously unlucky in this time, because mentally, not going anywhere, not talking to anyone, not having to really do anything, I'm able to have the kind of routines that I enjoy without other people from outside going and breaking them. So everyone who I talk to, they'll go, oh yeah, well, lockdown, obviously everyone's really struggling. Everyone's really, really struggling. And I'm having to go, yeah. Because for the first time in my life, my mental health is like tip top. And suddenly it's socially unacceptable for that to be the case. The one and only time in human history then people go, how you doing? You go, do you know what? I'm doing great. I've actually been sat at home. I'm writing every day. I've managed to get a TV script done and sent out. Everything's going really well. I'm halfway through a novel. Do you know what? This could carry on forever. And it's a bit inappropriate, isn't it? That's always been how I've interacted with people. And it like I was saying, and this is kind of relevant to what's going on in the world today, because a lot of it comes from my panic in social interactions with people. I panic when I have to when I have to talk to people, because I don't always recognize how I come across. And I think that's a big issue. And I worry about how I come across because I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to upset anybody. And because I don't recognize how I'm coming across, I often have to ask people, and that goes and completely blows the whole being cool and trying to act like you're not upsetting anyone out of the water, especially when you're not sure what the correct things to do. It's why I've stopped complimenting people altogether, because I am terrible at it. Because I used to compliment people and then they get angry at me and I couldn't figure out why. And so what I decided to do was to go and fill that out with the reasons why I'm complimenting them. Into what I have been told from other people are technically constructive compliments. Very much like constructive criticism. People do not like it if you say, I really like your hair, did you cut it yourself? They really sort of take against you when you ask. Once on a date, I was talking to somebody, the girl I was on a date with was saying about how paranoid she was about her nose. And me trying to compliment her went, don't be. I think your nose is fantastic. Like, I understand that, you know, you might feel self-conscious about it, but don't. It's fantastic. And apparently that was me telling her that she had a big nose. So I spend a lot of time worrying and I spend a lot of time panicking, and a lot of that goes and forces me into weird social interactions. Like, I was constantly, at one point, last time, when I first sort of developed agoraphobia and I wasn't really going out, one of the things that really got to me was I would constantly have this thought in my head that I had come across as racist, that whoever it was I was talking to, I'd be in the middle of a conversation and suddenly out of nowhere my brain would go, don't be racist. Well, I wasn't going to be racist. Yeah, well, maybe you should stop thinking about it. But you're my brain. You're the one who's doing the thinking for me. And my brain going, well, yeah, we both know why that is. It's because you're a fucking racist. And like it got so bad. I ended up like desperately trying not to be. I can remember on one occasion walking back to my car after a gig and seeing a black guy walk past me on the street. And as I went to open the car door, my little voice in my brain just went, oh, you're getting better. You didn't even think he was going to mug you. Like, what? horrible way that my brain works. And to the point that eventually I asked one of my friends, like, just to sort of like try and get that outside opinion, like, do you think I'm racist? And she said to me, are you asking me this because I'm your black friend? And I said, well, yeah, obviously, of course I am. Like I'm going to ask any of my white friends. The last time I asked them whether I was racist, they went, oh, yeah, go on, you do you. It's fine. Carry on. How's that racist? You know, the old white proverb. And I didn't like that realization, because I was like, oh, fuck, right, okay. Well, you know, realistically, of course I'm asking you that because you are my black friend, and who the fuck else am I going to ask? Like, I've got 5 friends. Like, literally, you're already doing, like, demographically better than the national average. Which it turns out that is massively racist. I found out at the time. But she told me something that really stuck with me, which was that not being racist isn't just about the things that you do. Racism isn't a thing you actively have to do. It's a system that we live under. Some people are treated differently than other people for arbitrary reasons. And not being racist is essentially just being silent. What you have to do is you have to be anti-racist and undermine that. And you should probably have more than one black friend. Which, you know, was exactly what I needed to hear, because that suddenly made me go, oh, right, fuck, no, and I am. And there's a way that I can go and do that. And I was trying to figure it out. I was like looking into it and recognizing that, you know, being told that I benefited from racism on a daily basis was something that I found really difficult to deal with, because, you know, I'm gay, I'm trans, I'm a woman, I'm disabled. I have all of these other things that all these other oppressions that are going on in society on a daily basis that I sort of like just sort of accept are happening, and I have to sort of go through. So trying to accept that maybe even through ignorance I could have some level of racism was like, you know, because I come across odd. I know I come across as odd because every time I get on an aeroplane, I always get checked. I always have my bag emptied. They always swab me down. They always check. I look like a drug dealer. I look like the sort of person who is trying to smuggle massive amounts of cocaine through an airport. Like every single time. There was one time in my entire life where I didn't get stopped at customs, and that was when there was someone in front of me and someone behind me who were both visibly Muslim, right? And that was the first time I went, fuck, I do benefit from racism. And this time it's actually been quite good for me. Immediately phoned my friend and was like, I can't believe that happened. But yeah, I don't even know where I was starting off with that. I was going to tell you about how lockdown has been all right. I mean, the nice thing for me, I've done that thing. Like I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted because ADHD, but also because I can see my little picture and I can see my haircut, and I've not really had a look at it because I had an audition like a week after lockdown started, and then they didn't get back to me, so I just left my hair to grow. And because it was already in a really shitty grown out mohawk before this started, by about 3 days ago I had a full-on mullet at the back and bowl cut at the front. It was like the weirdest Anne Widdecombe Tiger King mashup you've ever fucking seen. And I've just had it cut in the last couple of days, and so now I don't look like I'm trying to sell you a tiger. Although to be fair, at this angle I do look like I might try and annex the sedating man. Anyway, I've been Bethany Black, and thank you very much, Excess Malarkey. You have, as always, been fantastic.
Yes, your haircut does have the Hitler vibe.
It does. It is a little bit Hitlery, isn't it?
Yeah. So
just got to make sure that make sure the shadow doesn't hit me in the right.
Yes. So thanks for the racism monologue, Adolf.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm bringing everyone on, just so everyone knows. I'm bringing you all on screen now.
Well, great to see you, Ben.
Thanks, Toby.
Yes, thanks for that. How's it? Had you got plans? You weren't doing Edinburgh, were you? You were too busy doing other things to put yourself through that madness.
Well, Edinburgh? Oh God, no. I'm really glad. I just, do you know what the thing is? On the one hand, the pandemic has gone and made it fantastic because it now means that we've all been spared. All of those guys who've gone out and got their photograph taken with the Joaquin Phoenix Joker makeup for their posters. Because before this had happened, like 99% of the posters in Edinburgh would have been somebody who's gone, I'm the only person who's going to have this idea this year. Next year it'll all be my pandemic lockdown story.
It's in a time of coronavirus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'll be the name of it. It will be nuts. So yeah, I wasn't going because I had a bunch of other stuff. It's like for the first time ever, the universe has respected my plans because there's that meme that's all over the internet of what I wanted and how me and 2020, my plans in 2020, and everyone else's was sort of like, well, I had plans to do this, and this. Whereas my plans for 2020 was to ease back on doing stand-up so that I could spend more time at home writing. And yeah, it's worked out perfectly.
And have you had the discipline to actually do it? I mean, how have you forced yourself as somebody that even in the course of a sentence can get slightly distracted and lose their way and end up somewhere else? How have you not started to sort of sit down and write something and ended up, building a fridge out of books?
Well, I have like half a dozen half-finished essays in my in a folder on my computer from days when I should have been writing other things, but something caught my interest, and I went, right, okay, here we go. I've recognised that because I've got medication for my ADHD, I've recognised I get up in the morning and I take my medication, and then about 45 minutes later, I'm ready to start writing, and that's when I go and I sit down and I start writing. And I do that every day. And at first, I'd read the Stephen King book on writing, which is one of the finest books on writing, where he says, don't go at it, don't sit down and try and do 2 or 3 hours, because then you'll just wear yourself out. Treat it like exercise. Build up from a very small amount to do that, which I then reverse engineered into how I'm now trying to do exercise. But what I've done is, so I started off about 18 months ago, where at 11 o'clock in the morning, I would just go and sit in front of my laptop and write until I couldn't really. right until I started to get a bit tired of it, and built up from sort of like 20 minutes to now I can just sort of sit there and do like 2-3 hours and then go, right, that's it, that's my day, that's that sorted. I can go off and do other stuff. But yeah, like just not having to suddenly at 2:00 in the afternoon drive off to Penzance, or go, oh, what am I doing? Well, I've only got 2 days this week where I'm at home, so I really should use that time, and then I've got to go off and be somewhere else in the country, has really, really helped with that. Yeah, it's for me, it's been about a combination of medication and sticking to a timetable, which is something that without the medication I couldn't do at all.
But do you know what your favourite thing of yours, and I like many things that you do, but my favourite thing of yours that you do is the fastidiousness with it. Some people go, and you're very good too, and very eloquent about social issues and pointing out the things that some of us who are more privileged than sometimes it occurs to us that we are. You're very good at nailing all of that stuff and doing thought-provoking stuff that's also very funny. But the best thing that you do is the fastidious with which you root out people who, in a very well-meaning way, try to add to or comment on your jokes by doing the same joke as you've just done, but or spoil the joke by explaining, by going, or, and then doing a shitter version.
Yeah, I've now reached the point where I just block people.
For these people,
I have no idea how I'm a magnet for them. Like every single joke I do, it seems to be people who, and these are people who followed me for years. A lot of the time, these are people I've interacted with loads who just seem to have not realised that sometimes I do jokes. I think I've managed to, I think I properly fucked up my Twitter feed by talking about things that I really cared about. I should have just stuck to jokes, because once I did that, I've managed to, like, we're talking about social issues, I've managed to build up quite a following. I've got a lot of followers who I absolutely love and who are fantastic, and there's a good chunk of them who see laughing as a little bit bourgeois, I think. It's like, well, there are terrible things going on in the world, so I don't think laughing is appropriate right now. And a lot of them don't always get when I've made a joke or like explain it back to me. Or one of my favourites was that last week the Welsh First Minister said that now you're allowed to travel up to 5 miles to go and visit somebody in the lockdown. And I figured that out and said, and if you're unaware of the size of that, it's about 1% of the size of Wales. Which, the size of Wales being one of the standard units of measurement. And the amount of people who just went, you do realise that this area the size of Wales is a standard unit of measurement. I was like, of course I fucking know that. That was how that worked. Or just, I get so many of them. I get so many of them constantly. I don't understand why.
And also, if they're following you, they must have seen you get rid of these whole legions of people who've been doing this for years and not think, I better not do that, because that's the thing she really hates.
Yeah, that's that thing. And the other thing is, every time I mention because there's always a legion of people who, whenever you sort of say, this is a thing that I really, really don't like, they go, haha, I'm going to do exactly that thing. I'm going to do it in a jokey way. And you go, the problem is, my limbic system, my hot reaction system can't tell the difference between you doing it as a joke and you doing it sincerely. So either way, you've just pissed me off for the day.
Well, and also, it's the general public. Don't do jokes, love. Leave that to us. We're the fucking professionals. You follow me for my jokes. That's not why you're here. Now,
my favourite is when they suddenly go, oh, do you know what? Actually, this really interesting joke that you've done with a really specific thing. How about I substitute the popular cultural reference that you've made for a popular cultural reference that only me and 3 of my friends recognise, because that would make your joke better. Absolutely would not.
Yeah. Tell us what's happening in regards to it, because it seems to be the issue of the day, which must be really tedious for you, because I know there's so much more to you, but the issue of trans in terms of representation and in terms of entertainment, does part of you not sort of sometimes want to go, don't ask me that, and I'm not talking about me now, but I'm talking about when you're asked to do work and gigs and just go, I'm me. I'm not a presenter thing, or is it important for you as somebody who's very successful to go, well, no, I am also trans, so therefore it's my duty to be explicit about this and talk about it. It must be a bit of a catch.
Yeah, do you know what? It's a bit of both, because I will talk about it, but I won't argue it. Do you know what I mean? Like the amount of TV shows that
have a conversation with Graham Linehan, which I think is more than anybody can take.
Yeah, I've had. Yeah, I think I can't remember somebody. Yeah, there was a TV channel that asked me to do that. They also I like about once every 6 months. Good Morning Britain gets in touch to see if I want to go and have Piers Morgan shout at me for an hour. To which I say yes, but only if he's not allowed to mention that I'm trans, and only if we're there to discuss whether or not we should allow contrarians to live. If that's the argument we're prepared to have, I'm more than happy to come and talk about that.
And you just know that the first thing he'll say is, "Well, I identify as a table." Then you know that's going to be the first thing he's going to say. That's going to be his joke.
It is. And the second he does anything like that, they always have it. It would always be attack helicopter, because that is the one thing that they fucking go for. Because these guys, they only have one joke. That's one of the big problems with it. And the second you go, oh, okay then, so what do you want me to call you? And they go, oh, well, I hadn't. Why are you being like this? Like, because you told me that you wanted me to refer to you in a certain way, and because I'm not a cunt, I'm doing that. It's every single time. Like, yeah, on the one, it's difficult, because when you belong to a group of, if you belong to an underrepresented group, if you belong to a group where you are not the default, then everything that people get you in to talk about, that's what they want to do. Like the amount of TV scripts that I wrote and tried to sort of get made, and they would go, it's all right, have you got anything about a character that's trans? And sometimes those aren't the stories I want to tell. Sometimes I want to tell stories where the character isn't, where if they are trans and it isn't explicit in anything that's said, they could be, they might not be, but it's trying to sort of show that from my perspective, trying to be able to sort of use my perspective to go and tell more stories than that. I think it's a thing that as a society we really need to start getting on board with, and partly it comes through having enough representation that eventually it's, like when Russell T Davies did Queer as Folk, like it was the time and it was the place and it needed to be done, and he was the person to do it, and it made it so that it was easier for people who follow him to not necessarily have to go, right, well, I have to tell a story about gay characters. It's so many times the ways that people do try and sort of pigeonhole you into that, because they see it as your unique selling point, I think, and it doesn't necessarily have to be. I think of the things about me, I think that's possibly the least interesting. Least interesting of all the shit I've got going on, to be fair. And also, I'm really fucking boring about it. And, I'm a butch lesbian, so I don't go and wear makeup or do, like, fancy stuff with my hair, or, like, big frilly over-the-top dresses or anything like that. So I'm, like, really dull. And I'm really not interested in that respect to people. Yeah.
Well, it might be the way of doing it. I shall bore people into acceptance.
Yeah, I think that's the correct way, because that's the only way to go and like take the to desensationalize it. It's like, one of my friends. Sorry.
Assimilation through tedium.
Yeah, exactly. As one of my friends said, if you wanted to make drugs legal and stop kids from doing them, the best way to de-glamorize it is make it so that you have to go and get them filling out a form down at the town hall, because nothing removes glamour like local government.
Well, look, where can people find you online? Are you, and what shouldn't they do if they do?
I'm on Twitter at Bethany Black, BEFFERNIE Black, because anyway, the Bethany thing, that was my favourite misspelling from a Cockney guy who I worked with who tried to spell my name phonetically. On Twitter. Just read my bio. I just don't give me unsolicited advice. Don't reply to jokes telling me the joke that I've just said in ever so slightly different words. Also, I've got a live show out on Go Faster Stripe, which is available to go. Unwinnable, which was my show that I did for the Edinburgh Fringe the year before last, which is a very, very good show, even if I do say so myself. I've got a Facebook fan page, and I've got an Instagram that I don't really ever do much with. But yeah, those are the easiest places to find me.
Well, Bethany Black, everybody. Yes, and everybody's on screen, I believe. So Nigel's back, and Mo is back, and Leah's back. Hello, everybody. Well, look, thank you, everybody, for joining us. We are back on Sunday, not with these guys, but thank you to... now, look. Oh, now I'm told I don't... Hang on. I've got my game face on now. Ladies and gentlemen, comedians are self-employed people, and they currently have no way of earning a living. And the comedians performing for you tonight, we will be paying, but to help us to do that, we do require you to, if you possibly can, and we know time's tight, go to PayPal. We are the cheapest, one of the cheapest comedy, I think, probably per the cash quality ratio. I think we work it out as the cheapest. But we always try and keep the costs down, and we particularly keep them down for you on these internet shows, because there is no obligation to pay, because we can't actually do that. So you could watch us for free if you so desire. So, but obviously, if you can, go to the PayPal and donate what you can, bearing in mind that you haven't had to leave the house and that I'm fading away. It's not for me.
So you're like the anti-Bob Geldof.
Yeah.
No, give us your fucking money now. None of that.
Give us your fucking money. There we are. and now, wham. So give us your money, or these comics will hear the clanging chimes of doom from their bank manager. So donate if you can. Please keep supporting live comedy. One of the reasons we put these shows on is, one, to keep Excess alive and to give you hopefully something that you like, but also to keep comics sort of gainfully employed in our own modest way. So help us to do that by going to the PayPal link. We have also been showing some other links tonight, and I will tell you what those are. Black Lives Matter UK, Stephen Lawrence Charitable Trust, Stand Up to Racism, Southall Clack Sisters Trust, and Stand Against Racism and Inequality. And the reasons we've been doing that, I think, are obvious. So you can sequester your money into various different directions, whatever you can do. Thanks for coming and joining us. We do enjoy doing these shows. I think the chats with the comedians and the contributions of all the comics have been absolutely fantastic tonight. So thank you to them. Thank you for watching. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you. And a round of applause for all of the comedians.
Thank you.
Oh dear, I'm in Chorlton now. I think I've got the NHS day wrong. So thanks to Bethany Black, to Nigel, to No Omar, to Nick aka Lost Voice. Please seek them out online on the places they have directed you to. Please donate what you can. Excess Malarkey on Sunday. We have John Luke Roberts. We'll be playing clips of his madness, and then we'll be trying to explain what the fuck they are. He's a brilliant. If you've not seen John, he's like a one-man Monty Python sketch, and I don't make that comparison lightly or glibly. He's brilliant. He's very clever, but also surreal, but also there's a real intelligent mind. He's absolutely terrific, and he's going to be destroying the magic by explaining it all after showing various clips. And then we are back next week with a fantastic lineup, including Paul Pirrie and
Eddie Pepitone.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but then I was Eddie Pepitone.
Pepitone.
But I was maybe I've done a closing title sequence that reveals who's on next week. But anyway, why don't we can do it in lots of ways. Is there anything I've forgotten to say, Roz?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
No, it's fine makes it sound like there is. That's like when I've just made inadequate love to somebody and gone, "Are you?" No, it's fine. It's fine. I go, "What? Did I get him in the eye? What's happening?"
It was an amusing thing that's happened to Dave McCarroll, but the show is over now, so it feels like it feels like adding that would then mean that you have to close the show again, and it would take ages. So
Okay, well,
probably not.
Dave,
Sorry,
we have a
Dave.
picture of Dave singing at the Excess Malarkey Christmas party in about 2006 as part of the show. So perhaps that'll be the second most amusing thing that's happened to him today. Dave is a great supporter and great regular of the club. I don't know what on earth has happened to him, but I hope it was slapping rather than violence. Lots of love to Dave and to all of you watching Excess Malarkey. Thanks to all the comedians. My name's Toby Haydock. Keep watching, keep tuning in, stay safe, just be nice to everybody. Good night.
Bye-bye.